Alrighty, folks. Another little quick video here. Well, it may stretch on. Let's cover a few things. This is that 266 SE. I ended up cleaning it up real nice. I ended up painting the cover. These are very difficult to find covers. I mean, there's one on eBay. The guy's bidding on it. I don't know what the hell it's up to, 35 bucks or whatever, but they're hard to find. But I painted it. You know, I put the muffler mod on here. I put some new dogs on it. Put the pipe on, retuned it. It's a good runner. And right next to it, I got a Stihl 044. Another excellent saw. You know, I'm trying to, you know, concentrate my efforts on some of these older saws that were, you know, gems back in their day. I mean, if a guy wanted to pick up a saw and you could pick up a good run in 044 or even this 266 SE, which 266 SE and the XP, I guess it's the same saw. There is no, I don't think there was a model that was like this 268 that had the old cylinder on, open cylinder. So either one of these saws is worthy. I mean, personally, I think the 044's got it, a little bit more RPM to it, but they both have a character to them. You know, they're not as maybe not as light, and AV system may not be up to snuff, but they definitely cut wood. I mean, if you can find one in a decent shape that runs and you're mechanically inclined, I mean, you can do all right with them. I mean, you could find a basket case and split the cases and redo everything. I mean, you're going to put a lot of money into it. You'll probably end up putting more money into it than the saw is worth, but you're still going to have a heck of a saw. I don't have any wood right now that I can cut. I should be getting some in shortly, as soon as the guys pick up their firewood. So I got some room in the yard to stack some more. But we will compare these. I'll compare them in the same wood. I would say the 044 is quicker. You know, we'll see. But they are worthy saws. There's no doubt about it. I don't think you could go wrong with either one, either the 044 or the 266 SE. Now, get these back up here. Alrighty. Now on this one here, this 266, I went through, I did some measurements, I checked some literature, and I think I said it the other day, I'm just going to go with a 272 kit. New cylinder, piston rings, the whole kit. I have it coming from Wolf Creek Saw Shop, and it should be here tomorrow. So, you know, I still have to find out what the intake is, what I need, but I do have a good running, maybe not, you know, it's a little beat up plastic, but it's a good runner coming from Pennsylvania, a 272 XP. So, you know, that'll help me out a lot to see how that's configured and what parts I need or whatnot, or, you know, if I got a runner, I can always swap the parts on this one to get it running. And that's, to me, I tell you, you know, when I'm building these saws, I don't mind picking up, you know, a few of them. You get one running, and then you have one that's not running. Well, hey, you know that the parts are good here because it's running. You can swap them. And I'm not saying that's the way to do it. I mean, you should be able to diagnose what the problem is and replace that one thing. But sometimes it helps, you know, especially if you're trying to learn a model. You know, if I built, say, half a dozen of these things, and I have the shop manual, you know, I got it all up here. I pretty much every nut and bolt, I got it up here. You can put them together in your sleep. But this is a new model for me. Now, one thing I will say about this Husqvarna, as compared to Stihl, I think that these are a little bit, from this era, these are a little bit easier to work on. and I think they respond pretty well to the mods. You know, some of the Stihls, you can't do it like with the Husqvarna. You have to actually take the filter off, all the accessories, and they use a boot between the cylinder and the carburetor, and then there's like a partition wall. Okay, so there's a little more work. Where this cylinder here, you can pretty much just leave the carb intact, unbolt it, unplug the line, you know, take the lever off, the choke lever, the throttle lever, and you can pretty much pull the whole assembly right off, which is kind of nice. You know, these are very well designed saws, as is the 044, but these seem to be a little bit easier to work on than the Stihls. Just my opinion. What else do I want to talk about here? Oh, you know, some guys that don't have a lathe and they want to play around with quote-unquote machining, well, there's ways around it. You could, if you wanted to get in there in that squish band, you could make a wooden block, okay, a little smaller than this diameter, and put some, glue some, you know, whatever grit paper, or have a couple different sizes of paper. Obviously, the coarser the grit, the more it's going to take off. And have something where, you know, you have a shaft running through there, a threaded shaft, and you got it running pretty true, and you put it in your drill motor. So now you got a wooden piece with a shaft that goes in your drill motor with some abrasive paper. You know, set her down in there and zip, 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 zip. You know, take it out, get your depth mic or whatever, measure it, and you can do the squish that way. I mean, it's kind of a caveman way, but you can do it. And then, you know, for the base, you know, let's say this saw, I don't know what it is, I'd have to check it, but let's just say it's 40 thousandths. Okay, so you took some out of the squish band. Let's just say you just cleaned it up. Everything's cleaned up. You took 10 thousandths out of here. Well, you put your squish back in there and you're at 30. You still want to run with a base gasket? Okay. Or, you know, you could take a little bit more out of there and just make up your difference, whatever you need. But let's say you just wanted to clean up the squish in there. You just went in there with the sanding pad, and any imperfections that were in there, in the cylinder head, everything is smooth and as square as you can get it to this bore. Okay, maybe you had to take out 2 or 3 thousandths, 5 thousandths, whatever. And now your squish went up from 40 to 50 thousandths by doing that. Well, this is a 20 thousandths gasket. You can send this out and get a, you know, 10 thousandths gasket, and you're back down to 30 or 40. Or you can just, you know, put the cell. Personally, I always like to run the gaskets, but that's just me. So that's one way you could do it. You can, like I said, you can get in there with the wooden mandrel and sand, you know, blow it out, clean it out, and then measure. It's a caveman way to do it, but you could do it that way. And then without having to cut your base, you could use a thinner gasket, and you can tighten up your squish. You know, if that's what you want to do, it can be done. Or another way you can do it, and this isn't my idea, but you can turn down a mandrel, and you can put a cutter in here, high-speed steel cutter. Okay, and then basically, you know, if this is the way you wanted to do it, just basically build a mother here, a big heavy base, and then say this is 48 millimeters. You got a 48, you got a 50, 52, whatever the common size is, with a threaded rod with the flats on here. So then you just screw this on here like this, tighten it up, and then you got your cutter up here. I mean, you're going to have to monkey around with it, but you got a set screw, and put a little bit of oil in there, and just set the cylinder down, and turn it, take it out, blow it out, measure it, you know, and you can do it. It's not as fast as having a lathe, but you can get the results. I mean, you can actually come in here and rough this one in with the high-speed Stihl tool, and then come back and use your wooden piston and sand everything out. I mean, you can, you know, make a little bit of shape to that, where you could make this your wooden piece. If you wanted to experiment, you could maybe change a little bit on it, maybe put a little bit of angle on there. If you think it's going to make a difference, you try it out. I mean, I can only tell you what I've tried out and what I've done, and I'm just one guy. I mean, there's so many different ways to build these saws. It'll blow your mind. As long as you know, put them in the wood and they cut and they last, I think you got it licked. So, you know, that's another way to do it. You know, I mean, again, it's kind of caveman, but it'll work for you if you don't have a lathe. This whole setup here, where you got the cylinder and you're taking it in a 4-jaw chuck, and then, you know, putting some all thread in that, and then you're indicating all this and that, and, you know, to me, I mean, that's a way to do it, but I don't know, man. I don't, I personally wouldn't do it that way, put it that way. Now, if you're gonna cut the base, for whatever reason, and I really don't cut the bases, I just use a thinner gasket, but for whatever reason, yeah, you can put the mandrel on there, you know, put the pressure on here with the tailstock, and then you can cut this whatever you want. I personally, I don't do that. Again, I would just, if I wanted that less, send these out. You know, there's a couple companies that you can send these to, and you send them the old gasket, and, you know, it's 20 thousandths. I want a 10 thousandths gasket. They'll send you back, let's say, a copper one-use gasket. You put it on there. If you ever got to take it apart, you got to get another gasket. So, I mean, order a couple of them, but they won't leak, and they'll you know, they're copper. So, and that's just how I do it. And some guys, they want to, you know, indicate it and come in here with a boring bar and do that and take it out. And then they want to put it on here and, you know, face this off. And to me, if that's what you want to do, you know, knock yourself out. So, but, you know, I got a lot of videos, and I got videos of me running my saws against some of these known builders, and I got a lot of videos that I haven't even released. So, you know, I'm not just sitting here doing this, you know, saying, well, this way is right or that way is wrong. I'm not doing this. I actually have videos with the saws in the wood. And that's the thing. That's what separates the men from the boys. You know, you guys want to yap and people want to talk. Let's run them in the wood. A work saw that you'd sell to anybody else, and we'll run them. And whatever. Oh, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Well, okay, but you care enough to do this. So I'm going to call you out. I'm going to call you out. All right.